Hello and welcome to the Bike Show. For this week, we're going to concentrate on the Pirelli Bike of the Year. You've seen it all over the newspapers, you've heard it on the radio, and now you've seen it all over TV. To help us this week, we've got one of the organizers of the Pirelli Bike of the Year. You might recognize him. Matt, welcome to the Bike Show.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I do have a dual purpose occasionally, and you'll notice that Harry isn't with us. Well, he's actually the major driving force behind the whole Pirelli Bike. He does the work.
Yeah, he did all the work. Then
he's gone on holiday.
Well, he had a nervous breakdown, and now he's in a clinic, but...
Well,
okay.
Bike of the Year, Pirelli Bike of the Year, what is it? Why do we do it? It's to spark interest. It's to spark conversations. Now, as we film this, we're a few days after the announcement of the winner. And Donovan, you're heavy into the social media. You'll have noticed there's been a lot of comments.
Yeah, well, this is the point of it, isn't it? Is to get people talking, even if they say, you're all a bunch of bastards.
Yes.
At least they're talking.
Yes, a lot of people seem to think we don't know what we're talking about, which is, well, you watch the show, it's quite accurate, really, isn't it?
We think we don't know what we're talking about either.
But the main thing to remember is that Harry and myself organised it basically to get people talking about motorcycling. Even if you disagree with the final verdict, you will be talking about biking. And it's nice for the manufacturers as well, I think, to be able... We had 15, 16 bikes this year, and they covered everything. Adventure, cruiser, retro,
electric.
Electric bikes for the first time ever.
The first time on a Bike of the Year ever, we had an electric motorbike.
Yeah, and made some quite good impressions. So initially, there's 13 judges, remember, and they vote on what they want to see in the finals. That's where you come up with the 15, and then we go away for 3 days and test them. But before we talk about that in more detail, you might as well just watch this and get a bit of a flavour for what we were up to.
What I do find interesting is the route you chose. It seems to cover just about everything.
Oh, that's the idea, really. Bearing in mind we've got so many different types of bikes, you need many different types of roads. So we left Red Star Raceway, we had a load of boring motorway to start with, faster A roads, and they were fast. And then going over Long Tom Pass, you've got the infamous 22. So being based around the Sabi area gives you access to, I mean, literally some of the most amazing roads in the world.
Well, we've had people from overseas everywhere say that the 22 is the best road in the world, and I agree.
I've got to say, well, we've been lucky enough to ride all over the world. Yeah, it's the best one I've ever come across. Always had a soft spot for Long Tom, but that's too fast. 22, just got everything. That's lovely.
Now, the judges, I mean, there is quite an interesting mix of judges. What's the average age? About 73?
Yeah, you will notice that the judges, all 13 of us are, well, Donovan, you were the youngest there.
Yes, a whole 33.
Yeah,
and I was
33.
about half the age of anyone else.
And I tell you what, the average age is in the 50s. Well, actually, the three straddle because your dad was the oldest judge there, 71, I think. And still ridiculously quick. And that's what I want to say about the judges. Yes, the average age is old, but that means you're looking at an average of 15 to 20 years of journalist experience for everyone.
Some of the journalists, okay, my father's been a journalist for, 49 years. Dennis Dropper's been just at the start for 23 years. Yeah, 23 years. You've been a motorcycle journalist for...
2 decades, yeah.
Dave Abrams, I swear, his first ever published work wasn't hieroglyphics on the side of a pyramid.
Yes, a chariot group test. I can just imagine Dave doing that. So there we go. We've got experience, and if they've got journalistic experience, there are literally, I don't know, 300-400 years of riding experience there.
Oh yes.
So, and the nice thing about our judging, remember around the world you'll see maybe an American magazine or a British newspaper has done its own Bike of the Year award. They don't have the cross-section of judges we do. And what I like, Donovan, is our 13 really represent South Africa?
Well, the others, it's all one publication, and they're all very like-minded journalists voting for a Bike of the Year, where ours is a whole lot of journalists from completely different walks of life.
And I think that we'll see how that affected the final results.
Well, speaking of the results, okay, the judging criteria, what was the
deal? We do, as you know, you were a judge on there, so we have a set of criteria that are given to us in terms of ride and handling. Value for money is obviously an important one, but it's weighted more. The one score that counts more than the others, it can't be the most important score, but it's that indefinable wow factor. Because let's be honest, how do you give a number to how the Panigale or the Scrambler makes you feel?
Yeah, car of the year, I mean, you're judging Korean hatchbacks. These are not. They're motorcycles, they're people who are a bit loony. You don't buy a motorcycle because, you're all
it's very
conservative.
difficult, absolutely, to put numbers to it. And what you have to remember is that the bikes that are being judged, I mean, you might say legitimately, how do I judge a Kawasaki H2 against a Ducati Scrambler? Well, the answer is you sort of don't, really.
No, not at all. As I say, each bike is judged in its own class. So what you're doing is you're judging the H2 versus, bad example, but I mean, you judge the adventure bikes against their other adventure bikes.
Yes, and decide which has made the most impact within its class.
Exactly. So I mean, if you want to, I mean, the Harley Davidson 750, I mean, the slowest bike of the group, and the cheapest against an H2. Now, would you rather buy an H2 for 310? Or would you rather buy a Harley for 95?
Well,
that's kind of how it works.
Yeah, you've brought in the whole idea of value for money, and I think you can look at the H2 as being quite good value for money. Okay, there is another thing. Well, this is the third running of the competition. We've had the GS 1200 in 2013, the KTM Super Duke in 2014, and now, well, later in the show, if you don't already know, we'll tell you exactly what won. But along the way, we have, as a panel of judges, been accused of bribery and corruption. And if that's the case, whoever's doing the bribing is not doing a very good job. Have a look at this.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for my money from the KTM last year. This is rubbish.
Yeah, whoever's doing the bribery and corruption isn't doing a very good job. And just a little more serious aside, we actually have Lachlan Harris, who's the director of AMID, the Association of Motorcycle Importers and Distributors. That's the official body of motorcycling in South Africa. He comes along and casts a beady eye over what's going on. He's always fully supported what's going on. And what I like this year is we had an extra judge in the form of someone from Think Bike. It's a big organisation, and they're sensible, so it counterbalances you, really.
Well, fair enough.
Although I have to say, he was very rapid. Okay, let's get down to the contenders, Donovan. We don't have time for the full 15, 16 bikes that were there. We're going to narrow it down to the top 6.
If you do want to see the full list, they are in this month's issue of Bike SA on shelves now.
Okay, that's very handy. So we're going to come... Remember that when we judge, we're only allowed to judge or vote for our top 6 bikes, and they get scored in the old Formula 1 scoring system, which is 10, 6, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so let's go through the top 6. Let's start at 6th, which came in Yamaha Tracer. What are you rating?
Tracer, oh, lovely. It is, okay, except for dirt, obviously, because it's a road-only bike. It is the best all-rounder, tar-going all-rounder. It does everything. And for a good price too. What's it, 125?
125 grand, yeah. It's very affordable. And you're right, it's not too much of an exaggeration. It does everything really well. It can be a sport bike, you can tour in it, you can commute.
It's comfortable, it's fun, it's everything.
Good piece of kit.
Sum up the Tracer in 5 words.
Brilliant. Value, handles, goes, nice.
Okay, coming in just above that, in 5th place, KTM Super Adventure.
The 1290, yes.
Yeah.
Ooh, what a lovely engine that has, doesn't it?
Beyond lovely.
Oh, yes.
You want to sell motorbikes? Power, horsepower, 1,290 cc's of power. It's not a cruiser, it's nothing. It's power, and it'll sell like hotcakes.
The only reason it didn't finish higher is because that is a very competitive class it's in. I mean, it's going up against the GS Adventure, it's going up its 1190s, and
it's not cheap.
It's not cheap, 220,000 rand. And it's also a very big, heavy sort of bike. I think that's...
It's a big luxury tourer. I have to say, I'm completely in agreement. It deserves to be in that top 6.
Yeah.
4th. Now, this one caught a lot of people by surprise, I think. It didn't.
I didn't expect this, to be honest.
Yeah, I've got to be honest, it is in fact, I think I voted it fourth in my own particular list. Aprilia's RSV4RR. That's the base model of the superbike, and it stunned people.
The Aprilia, fantastic. Great handling, great performance, fantastic torque out of the corners. Just an awful confidence-inspiring bike.
I must say one thing that impressed me about this bike, I think, is actually the best handling bike out of the lot on the 22. It feels like it's on rails.
It sort of got overlooked when you looked at the list of finalists. You sort of thought, yeah, Aprilia, yeah, all right.
More of the same.
Yeah, then you rode it. Oh my goodness me, that chassis. I keep saying Aprilia is Italian for good handling, isn't it?
It is. And the RSV takes it to new levels. We rode the R1 along there, the BMW S1000RR, the Panigale even. And I have to tell you from the bottom of my heart that the RSV is the better bike along there. Not perhaps the best engine, but definitely
I think
the
where
best
it did
handling.
lose out, why it didn't beat some of the other superbikes is the simple fact is that engine's not quite there. I know the horsepower says 201 horsepower, but
It doesn't feel like that, does it?
quite, no.
But a stunning result for the Aprilia, and that's all we've got time for. We're going to go to an ad break. We'll be back with the winners after this.